A very good evening to all my dear friends and travelers and photographers around the world. Welcome to Chris Lee Travel Channel, and I wish you all in good health. And our tour today will focus on the Wangguosu waterfall scenic regions, and it's been well known as Wangguosu Waterfall National Park, or in Chinese, it's Wangguosu 瀑布国家公园. Now it's located in the Xining, Buyi, and Miao Autonomous Prefect County in this case, and the tour comprises of two waterfalls as well as a scenic park, as can be seen in these few images. So for viewers that first time log into this series of my travelogues, the Guizhous of China, please note that the area color in reds is in this map is the whereabouts of Guizhou province in China. It's a landlocked and mountainous province that which can be seen from this topography map of Guizhou's. Now, further to that, to my last two episodes. In today's episode, which is the 11th and the last episode of my travel journey to Guizhou province, my journey still continue, right, in the southwestern region of Guizhou, which is bordering to Guangxi at the south and Yunnan at the west. So now the location of this Xining, Buyi, and Miao autonomous counties is between the highlighted area in yellow, right, in this provincial map of Guizhou. Now the actual location is further highlighted in this Guizhou map, and where the Anshun city or Anshun Shizhen is the prefecture level city in the Xining, Buyi, and Miao autonomous county. And if you are the first time logged into my travel channel and you want to have a better understanding of Guizhou province, then I would suggest, right, that please go through all my other previous episode of my journey to Guizhou, and to have a better understanding not only of the ethnic minority, their culture and custom, as well as traditions, right? And is also to have a better understanding the entire province as a whole. And to begin with our journey to this scenic region, let me share some facts of this popular national park. And this national park is located in the Baishui River in Wangguosu town, and it's about 45 km southwest of Anshun city, a prefecture level city in the Xining, Buyi, and Miao autonomous county. Let's take a look at this tourist map. Now, in these tourist maps of this national park, it's a large site, as such that you need at least a full days in order to explore the entire parks. If not all the major spots of region, because time is definitely an essential and element in the travel in this place, because a lot of walking. And you may also need to use the park shuttle bus service to commute between the various scenic spots, as to cut down the traveling time between spots. Now the red arrow pointed right in this map is the main entrance of this national park, and it's where we got down and get our entrance ticket purchased. Now this image shows that the main entrance to the national park is clearly in this large map. And let's examine the further maps and enlarged maps of this national park again. Now in this second tourist maps of this national park, that you will definitely able to locate two main waterfalls. That is the Wang Guoshu waterfall as well as the Dong Po Tang waterfall. Now, our tour today will cover spot 1 to spot 3 as been highlighted. Broadly, the Wang Guoshu Waterfall National Park is divided into 3 main zones, namely the Wang Guoshu Waterfall Scenic Area, and then the Dong Po Tang Waterfall Scenic Area, and as well as the so-called Tianxing Scenic Area. All these three areas cover an area of approximately 163 square kilometers of land area. So it's got a huge site. And all these 3 spots which I recommend today are a must-visit spot in this national park. So our stop, right, the first stop in today's travel log will be, of course, the Wang Guoshu waterfall. Now, the Wang Guoshu Waterfall National Park is made up of a number of big and small waterfalls together with the surrounding area. Now, the largest 2 are the Wang Guoshu waterfall as well as the Dong Po Tang waterfall. With 16 more smaller waterfalls, and this waterfall together with the river, the stream, the waterlogged area, been converted into a national park, generally known as the Wang Guoshu Waterfall National Park, which is a 5A rating by the China National Tourism Board. Now, a tour to this waterfall include a considerable distance of walking at the edge of the river bank of the Bai Shui He, the downstream of the waterfall. And you can look at the map here. I have highlighted 2 red arrows. The first arrow is basically at the center of it. It shows exactly the location of a suspension bridge at the far end. And this is a suspension bridge we need to cross over later on. And then the other arrow is almost on the right top corner. And in fact, this is the area, is the path that we have to take. And we are walking in a clockwise manner. That means they're walking toward you in the picture, toward you, and then have a U-turn, go behind the Wang Guoshu waterfall, then all the way to the end where you reach the suspension bridge, then you cross over. So it's basically, it's a loop, a travel in a loop. So this arrangement of one-way is a one-way track whereby all visitors will move in the similar directions, and there's also have a one advantage is that to let you have an all angle of view of this beautiful Wang Guoshu waterfall. And so now in this image you can see that from the high above ground looking down, you can clearly see the suspension bridge, and this is just at the spot you're looking on the right hand of your side and all the way to the downstream area. And this is actually, we're looking at the upstream area toward the Wang Guoshu waterfall. Now for your information, right, that the combined width of this 18 number of waterfall measure about 101 meter by 77.8 meter high. And thus, this is also ranked as the largest waterfall cluster in the world in the Guinness Book of World Records. So now you can see these are the view. And beside this so-called beautiful scenery of waterfall, one of the crowd-pouring feature is the water curtain cave, which is named the in Chinese mean Shui Lian Dong, right? As can be seen in this image, the word in Chinese, a natural form cave located at the back of one of the main waterfall and of the length about 134 meter and at the height of about 40 to 47 meter. It is included 6 cave window can look out from behind of the waterfall, and 5 cave hall, 3 fountains and 6 passes. A very unique and marvelous creation of God. So now you look at this image, is directly looking at the waterfall, and at the back of this waterfall you can see some dark spots. These basically are all the window of this of the cave, right? We call it a cave curtain window. And you can notice that I put an arrow there, a red arrow pointing, and you can notice the tiny thing that are pointed at is the visitor. This is where the actually we are going to pass through as like what the visitor there now they are right behind of this waterfall. And when we are in and look out at this window of curtains, waterfall curtains, then what you can see now from this image. So after walking past in this Shui Lian Dong inside, because it's very humid and very wet, so I didn't try to take many pictures, as I said, just to avoid the dampness affecting my lenses and my cameras. And one out of it, of course, we start capturing the image again. So this image and the subsequent images are images taken after exit from the water curtain cave, or so-called the Shui Lian Dong. So now, as we then move on, as I say, we have gone through in a clockwise basis. Now we are walking away from the Wangguoshu waterfall, and what you're going to see now is all the view of the Baishui He at the downstream of the Wangguoshu waterfall. So you can see that it's very beautiful sight, as you walk around this waterfall as well as along the Baishui River. And finally, we are crossing over this suspension bridge. And this is just the last glimpse of the waterfall before moving to the next spot. Now, the view of this waterfall are magnificent, especially during the raining season, because of the volume of water that create that magnificent feeling. And of course, the recommended period of traveling, if you want to have this beautiful, grand waterfall effect, then it will be in the month of June till month of August. But then, yes, we have a large water volume, but indirectly or on the other hand, it may not be good for visitor, because if it's raining season, then you find that actually pose a lot of inconvenience to the visitor, where you need to carry your umbrella, and for photographer, it doesn't like raining season. It's extremely difficult to take pictures in the rain. So now we move on to our second stop. That is actually the Dong Po Tang Waterfall Scenic Area. There is another magnificent waterfall in these regions. A lower waterfall, but the scenes in this region is breathtaking. I love the scene here more than the Wang Guashu waterfall. Let me share with you why. Now let's examine the tourist map of this Dong Po Tang Waterfall Scenic Area. Please note that the three locations: the location of the waterfall, the location of the viewing platform, as well as an entrance point on this map, the main entrance point to this waterfall. It's been actually highlighted on the maps. So literally we want to enter from the entry point. We're walking northwards, right? And along the so-called the eastern bank of this waterfall, the river, before we reach to the viewing platform at the northern at the up north area, and we view further up. This is where the location of this waterfall. So now these are the image of taken at the viewing platform. It is actually a cascading waterfall, and in fact it used up a fair bit of my memory cards. Many images were taken from this viewing platform. And the foreground of this waterfall also very, very interesting, because the presence of wildlife, in this case, is the birds, or more precisely is the duck. And interestingly, in these waterfall regions, that which basically, particularly at the shallow cascading stream area of the downstream of this Dong Po Tang waterfall, are inhabited with actually a large variety of birds, as I mentioned. Sorry, it's a Dong Po Tang. So now this is a view of the downstream. You can spot some of these birds now. So you can see abundance of birds, or in this case it's a duck. Now as we walk downstream, right, along the river bank, the surrounding scenery are equally breathtaking, and the cascading stream is so beautiful, particularly when the images are taken at a slower, shorter speed, which I attempt to do so. And these are the species of birds found at these waterfall regions. Surprisingly, it's not in the Wang Guoshu waterfall area. And then we cross over to the other side of this scenic spot is where we are going to continue to our third spot of today's travel itinerary. And this again have a look at this beautiful waterfall. And this image has been attempt to slowing down the shutter speed. More image of the ducking, the ducks, the birds in particular. Now, finally, it is our last stop in this scenic area, national park. It's called the Tianxing Scenic Area, which provides scenic walking trails around smaller waterfall embraced with natural rock outcrops, cave and pond. And let's look again at another tourist map. In this map, the spot number 3 is the whereabout of the Tianxing Scenic Area. It is located west of the Dongpo Tang waterfall and is linked by a bridge as highlighted in this map. And is a big area to cover as well. It's where we cross over. Now this tourist map, right, provide useful guide for visitor, right. It show the walking trails between this region, as this scenic area is located on the western side of the Dongpo Tang waterfall scenic area. Most visitors, including myself, will continue their tour after touring the Dongpo Tang waterfall, as to save the walking time. Now, the entire scenic area was constructed with intersecting walking trail, zigzag crossing, and around the well-landscaped rainbow-shaped pool, as well as along Baishui He riverbank. Now, at one stretch of the walking path, all right, and which formed by blocks of stone, as can be seen in this image. And at the beginning section of this walking trail, the walking trail are made up of pieces of flat stone blocks. Some of these stone blocks are forming linking path, cutting across stream and pool. Interestingly, you could find dates of 365 days in a year being engraved, right, onto the stone blocks face. Later I will share with you how it looked like. They were spaced in such a manner that the distance apart is equivalent to a walking step, right, of an adult. They mean that as you walk, each step taken by you, there will be a date engraved on the stone path. And they have all the 365 days engraved on the path. I mean, there's not a single day been missed out. All been engraved on the walking path. So now you can see this image is enlarged of the previous image. You can see the engraving. These are the dates. You can see that the distance apart exactly is just a step away from the previous step. So now you can see that these are the walking steps. As I mentioned, all of it dates engraved on it, and they are actually lay across to the waterlogged area. And of course, there are also some very much smaller waterfall along the way in this walking trail. And these are all the rock outcrops that surrounding this waterlogged region. If you're coming in the right season, you could probably spot a lot of lotus flowers, but of course our visit, the lotus flower is not blossom. Now, why walking on this walking trail? Now, in this scenic walking trail region itself, there's also quite another number of other popular so-called spot, and one of them is actually the Tian Xing Cave. We do walk past this cave, but I'm more interested in the external scenery than actually inside the cave. So I did not take any picture of this Tian Xing Cave. It's just a natural cave. And definitely, as you've seen from just now from all these images, the rock outcrop in this region are very fascinating, and it's in fact is a perfect spot for portraiture photography and nature photographies. And you can also notice that actually they have built quite a nice walking path. Alright. And in certain section of the trail, you find that you had to squeeze through a narrow path, a cave, passageway, and it's so narrow that actually big-sized men will have problem. Particularly if you carry a haversack, a backpack, then you had to make sure that you had to make in such a way that it will not obstruct you from passing through, as can be seen in this image. This again another passage that we need to pass through. So you can see that this rock outcrop in this region is very fascinating, and in fact, nature lover and also people like to take a lot of portraiture images. That including my wife, she have a lot of image of her in this scenic spa. So you can see from this image, right? You can see the walking path, and it's built. Some of them are actually just beside the riverbank. And because this area is also classified under class landform or land outcrop regions. So then one of the typical features that you're going to have a lot of deep cut gorge or valley that caused by the running waters because it's the limestone area. So as you walk along, you find that this river cut valley is abundant, and you can spot many gorge-like valley along the walking trail. And you can see that there's a rock bridge at the top of this image. So then you can this river cut valley. Of course, some of them are with water, like seen in this image, and they'll finally lead us to another cascading waterfall of a smaller scale, further downstream of this Baishui River. So as you walk, and this is the scene around the way. As I said earlier, it's quite a fair bit of walking. So be prepared when you travel this place, and you really need a full days indeed because it's just a last site. And finally, the waterfall that I mentioned to you, they come close. So here is where the last waterfall that we saw before we depart from this scenic spot. So these are all the surrounding scene. So lastly, I would like to showcase some of my favorite images taken during this section of my trips, and I hope you will like it too. And as I said earlier, photography is all about how you compare, so how you display, how you capture the images at the angle we call compositions, and how observant you are. So when I found I'm going to visit this spot, I was so excited because I managed to capture quite a fair bit of beautiful images of my liking, and there is where now I intend to share with you of those picture of my favorites. I really term this as abstract in the sense that it's in form of art, you know. Of course, it's a landscape. Most of it a landscape photo, but not only giving you the feel of the scene, but at the same time, the close up is also equally interesting. It could be just a tree, you know, or can be some bushes, but the way they are in displays in front of you sometimes can pose a very beautiful image. In fact, these images and the next images are my favorite. In fact, I've been giving away few of these images to my friend, uh, frame it up, and then they are very happy. They have been displaying uh, at their home. So finally, this end of my this travelogues, and also the last episode of my travel journey to Guizhou. Now it's important to note that these images are taken in the year 2011, as compared to now it's about 10 years old. So I'm expecting that the condition now at this scenic or national park could be different from what the images I've just shared with you. But nevertheless, it's a very, very interesting and very beautiful site. Getting a 5A rating from a Chinese tourism board is beyond doubt. And finally, with the completion of this travel journey to Guizhou, and if you have been entertained, I would be much pleased that you can subscribe, share, and give me a like to this traveler as well to my travel channels. And of course, I need to thank you in advance for supporting me. Lastly, just a preview of what I'm going to share with you in my next episodes, which are going to bring you to another very fascinating place on earth. Of course, it will be another nation. This nation I have covered previously. I will still cover again. That is the country of the name India. But this time, I'm bringing you to the up north, to the northern state of India. That is the Jammu and Kashmir. Of course, that area at the moment, they still have some political instability due to conflict between the neighboring nations. But this region is a highland area and been at the up north. And so during the winter month, it's very scenic. And in fact, the city government I'm going to share with you in next episode, Srinagar, will be considered as the summer city of the northern India. Right. So please stay tuned, which it will be another interesting episodes, and they will be actually cover all total only of 2 episodes only for these beautiful places. So before I end, I would like to wish you all in good health, and please stay strong so that I can see you again next week.